Good morning and welcome back to yoga. So glad to have you guys here with me today. Today we don't have a specific theme for our practice. We're just going to move. We're just going to breathe and move our bodies. But I guess the biggest thing I would like you to try to focus on, I'm going to give you lots of options of ways to move, but just kind of listen to your body. Just deciding right now to just be present in your body and be honest and real with yourself. Whereas I might be moving through something or holding a specific posture or movement, and maybe you're not feeling it today, and but you feel like you kind of have to do it because I'm doing it. But just be honest, and it's okay to not do it. It's okay to do something different. It's okay to modify. So just know that I'm here to guide you. This is really your practice, your body, and a chance for you just to kind of tune in to what's going on inside. And I know that's not always the most comfortable place to be, is in the body. That's a common place for us to hold our memories, our experiences, our stress, but also a lot of good as well too. So just try to listen, pay attention, and then just know you can choose what you want to do. So I'm going to begin standing just because I'm still trying to bring up my energy for the day. But as always, if you'd rather start seated or laying on your back or whatever else you'd rather do, your choice. Either way, feel free to move around a little bit, adjust your weight forward and back, side to side, whatever you need to do to arrive into your space. Maybe you close those eyes, maybe you keep them open. Maybe you have a habit of going right into something when you do yoga. Maybe try something different. Unless that works for you, then great. You can do that as well. But we're just going to take a minute or so here as we begin our practice for the day to check in. To check in with first maybe your thoughts, your mind. Where's the mind at? What brought you here today? Why are you doing yoga? Maybe what you're hoping to get out of it. Or maybe your mind is just elsewhere on your to-do list, whatever it might be. Just beginning to acknowledge those things that you notice. Sometimes something might keep pestering you until you acknowledge it, kind of like, a younger sibling growing up. They just keep bugging until you acknowledge that they're there, and then it's not so fun anymore and they leave. So just acknowledging where the mind keeps going to. And then try to notice how you're breathing. You don't need to change that breath. Maybe you're breathing through the nose, maybe through the mouth, maybe a little of both. Just how do you breathe when you don't really think about it? And then let's find that connection with our bodies and whatever surface is underneath us, whether it's a yoga mat, your carpet, hard floor, outside, wherever you might be. Where's your body connected to that surface? Maybe it's the bottom of your feet. Maybe you're seated and it's the back of your legs. Can we ground down? Can we sink a little heavier into those connection points? And then how are we breathing? And let's try bringing awareness maybe to that area in the torso where our breath resides. So not only the chest where we just kind of naturally breathe into, but think about the rest of the lungs, maybe the rib cage, maybe even deeper into the belly, maybe even the side body or even the back of the core. Our breath can expand into all those areas. So just for these last few moments as we pause here, just notice where you feel the breath, if you feel the breath anywhere there. And if you don't, that's okay. But let's just try to keep that awareness with that breath. 3 more breaths here. Trying to find or feel any kind of movement through the torso, through the core. As we breathe. Maybe you adjust, maybe you find a little tightness somewhere or tension, or maybe notice your weight is leaning forward or back and you readjust. Let's take one more full breath here together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. All right, let's find a little bit of movement. So on our next breath in, maybe you try reaching those hands up towards the ceiling until you feel that connection of those hands, and we'll exhale them down to our heart center. Once again, let's inhale and rise. You can even look up at those hands if that feels okay on the neck, and then we'll exhale, turning that gaze down with those hands. This time on our breath in, let's lift all the way up, but on our breath out, we're gonna find our cactus arms. So we're gonna bend those elbows as they drop down and back, just opening through the front of those shoulders. And maybe as we inhale, we lift back up. But this time on the exhale, we find cactus arms as we turn to our left. So finding a little twist with those arms. And then we can inhale and reach back up. Maybe those hands touch at the top. And exhale, you can try twisting to the other direction. And then we'll inhale, lifting those arms all the way up, and exhaling, hands back to our heart. Once again, let's inhale and reach. Exhaling, as we twist to our left this time, you can keep those elbows bent, or maybe you extend those arms, reaching out through those fingertips. And then we'll inhale, back up through center. Once again, try to feel those fingertips touch, and then exhale as we turn to the other side. And then we'll inhale all the way up, and exhale. Let's bring those hands to our heart. Maybe bring those hands behind the body, feeling that lower back. So you can make a fist if you'd like, or maybe your palms are flat on your back. Fingers can be pointing up or down, either way. But just that left shoulder first, maybe lift it up and then roll it all the way back. And then try the right shoulder, lifting it up and then all the way back. Those elbows can draw in towards one another, so we're lifting the chest, the heart up towards the ceiling. You can even try looking up towards the ceiling as well with your gaze. But then let's find those legs. Really ground down into those feet once again, or maybe you're on your knees and you ground down into those knees. But see if we can lift the tops of those knees up, engage through those thighs as we gently press those hips forward. One more breath here, just breathing into the openness through the front of the torso, the front of the heart. And then on the breath out, maybe we release those hands. Let's hinge at those hips, bending those knees, and find a forward fold. Coming all the way down, letting the crown of the head just relax towards the floor, and feel free to move that head if you'd like. You can go side to side, forward and back, or maybe today it feels better just to stay and hold. As always, you can keep a nice deep bend in those knees. Anytime you're folding forward, I know oftentimes as we fold to get a stretch to the back of our legs, but you can still get a stretch with a little bend in those knees. That really just helps release the lower back when we bend the knees. When we straighten the legs, it often can pull from back here. So go ahead and find that bend. One more breath here. And then let's bend those knees as deeply as we need to until those hands can come to the floor. And let's step those feet all the way back, lifting those hips high into our downward dog. Now maybe you pedal out those heels, or you can pause on one side with one knee bent. Maybe you drop that same shoulder down towards the knee, taking it into a little twist as well. You can alternate side to side, or you can stay and hold on one side or the other. Just 2 more breaths here. And then on that next breath in, let's slowly make our way forward, lowering to those knees, and we'll walk those hands back until they come under those shoulders. Knees are under those hips. Just finding a strong base here. Maybe you have some space in between those fingers. Maybe you look back and you can see some space in between those knees as well. And then feel free to move through some cat and cows. So a couple options here. You can do the traditional cat and cow as you inhale and lift the crown of the head and the hips. And then exhale as you round through the spine. Or if you're more comfortable, you can do this on your knees. You can be up high or low here. And inhale, lift the heart, the shoulders draw back. And then exhale, maybe you draw the belly in as the shoulders round forward. And maybe you try both ways. Find what works and feels better for you today. It might be different than what felt good yesterday. Maybe we do it the same every time. But try to notice one part of the body with each breath. So maybe we start with the crown of the head and the neck. As you inhale, try to lift the crown of the head up, turning that gaze upwards, and then on the exhale, we drop the chin towards the chest. Then maybe on that inhale, we find those shoulders. Drawing those shoulders back and down as you inhale and reach forward through the heart. And then exhale as we round those shoulders forward, pressing into those palms. And then inhale, reaching the belly down towards the floor. And exhale as the belly lifts away from the floor. And maybe we find those hips. Inhale, tilting those hips, lifting up through the tailbone as you breathe in, and then exhale, tucking that tailbone as you breathe out. Once more, each direction, or one more breath if you're holding. Awesome, and then go ahead and exhale. We can just reach those hips back towards the heels, extending those arms forward. Maybe those palms stay on the floor, or you can try turning those palms up. Giving yourself a moment here to check back in. Maybe you check in with those hips, maybe the shoulders, whatever's drawing your attention here. What in the body is speaking a little louder than others? And then as you feel ready, we can reconnect those palms with the floor. Let's inhale forward to our plank. Feel free to stay on those knees, and exhale, we'll bend those elbows and lower all the way down to the chest and the belly. And then inhaling up to our cobra, however high is comfortable for you. Baby cobra, maybe you're up a little bit higher. Exhaling as we lower back down to the chest. And then inhale, we ground down into those hands as we lift the chest back to that plank. Let's reach those hips back towards the heels, and slowly we'll lift them up to our downward dog. All right, turning that gaze forward in between our hands, you can step or you can hop your way to the front of your space. And let's inhale, nice deep bend in those knees as we make our way up to standing. Maybe you bring those arms up with you, and then exhaling, hands back to our heart center. Let's inhale and rise, reaching those arms up. Exhaling, hands back to our heart. As we breathe in, we're gonna lift, but this time maybe we bring our right hand to our left wrist. And we lift that arm a little bit higher, and then exhale as we lean over to that right side. Maybe with those hands, or the hand on the wrist, see if we can draw that wrist back behind the head a little bit. Maybe that changes the stretch. And then when you're ready, inhaling up through center, you can switch those hands, and then exhaling over to the opposite side. You can try to draw those arms back behind the head, behind the ear. We'll inhale all the way up and exhale. Let's find that forward fold. Right foot can step to the back. Let's lower that right heel to the floor, and maybe as you look back at that right foot, we can try to line up those heels with one another. And then slowly we'll make our way back up to standing. Let's find our warrior one, lifting up through those arms as we ground down into those feet, into those legs. Maybe we get a little heavier into those hips. Just using the weight of that upper body and gravity to help sink down into these hips and begin to open through the front of that right hip. If you want to take it a little further, you can try to spiral the top hip open out to the side a bit as we turn those shoulders and face forward. One more breath here. And then on the breath out, we're gonna once again bring those hands behind the body. Let's interlace those fingers, and we can roll those shoulders down and back. Options here, hands can be together, or you can bring hands to that lower back once again, like we did when we were standing. Either way, just try to draw the shoulders back as we reach the chest forward and up. Let's inhale, turning that gaze upwards, and then exhale. We're just gonna hinge forward at those hips, however far you would like to take it. You can just find a little hinge. Maybe you come all the way down by that knee, either way. And then we'll inhale, grounding down into both feet as we lift back up. 3 times with that breath. Exhaling as we hinge forward. Maybe as you inhale, you press into that front heel and then the back foot as you feel that torso lift. Exhaling as you hinge, arms reaching back. Inhale, lifting nice and tall. Let's go one more time. Exhaling as we hinge forward. And then inhaling, let's lift all the way up. Let's bring those arms up with us so we can exhale and open out to the side. We'll find that warrior two, and then let's straighten through both legs here. Readjusting so those shoulders come right above those hips. Feeling the mat underneath those feet, supporting you nice and strong through our legs. And then as we breathe in, we can reach forward through the left fingertips as far as you possibly can until you can't reach any further. And then maybe just lower that left hand down to the leg, finding that gentle connection with your hand and the leg. And the right arm, if it feels okay on that shoulder, you can reach it up, or you can bring your hand to your hip or behind the back, finding what feels better on your shoulder today. But just try to actively reach the crown of the head forward as we ground down into that back foot. 2 more breaths as we pause. Notice where you might feel a little opening. Maybe you feel a little contraction through some of those leg muscles, through the core. Maybe you feel something else altogether and you need to adjust to make this a little more doable for you today. And then go ahead and inhale. We'll come all the way back up. Let's just reverse those arms. So the left arm can lift up, the right arm can lower, and then we'll cartwheel both hands all the way back to the floor. We can step back. Let's find that downward dog. Once again, feel free to walk out those heels. Maybe move those hips side to side, whatever feels best for a couple more breaths here. Just exploring with different movements, different pauses, different shifts in weight. And then as you feel ready, you can inhale forward, like you can come back to that plank. Maybe you stay and hold in that plank, or you can move through your flow on your knees or your toes. You can lift cobra or upward dog. Let's just all meet back in our downward dog. All right, let's bend through that right knee. We're slowly going to draw the right knee forward so we can step that foot to the front. You can always reach back and help that ankle forward. And then that left foot, we can step it forward a bit, dropping the left heel, turning the foot out to the side. And then when you're ready, slowly inhaling as you rise back up. And exhale, begin to settle into those hips, adjusting those feet as needed. Finding that space for you, finding what works for you in this warrior one. Just grounding down into those feet. That back leg especially gets forgotten. So try to ground down into the pinky toe edge, hugging those thigh muscles in around the thigh bone. I know I use proper terms for anatomy here. Just try to keep it simple. And then go ahead and inhale, lifting nice and tall. And on the exhale, we can bring these hands back behind the body. Maybe try interlacing the fingers the other way, so the other thumb comes on top. Or whatever you did before. If hands were on your lower back, whatever it might be, big shoulder roll back and down. Opening through that heart center to help lift the mood, opening through those shoulders to help counteract all the typing and texting and driving we do all day. And then let's move with our breath. If you would like to move again, it's your choice. Feel free to stay and hold if you'd rather. But if you're going to move, maybe you inhale, lifting the crown of the head, and exhale. The only thing that bends is the waist. And then we inhale, grounding down into those feet as we lift back up. Exhaling as we hinge forward, arms reaching back, crown of the head reaching forward. Inhaling as we lift, feeling that shift in weight from the front leg into the back leg, especially as we rise. So we inhale, pressing into the front leg, and then as we get about halfway up, you might start to press into that back leg. One more. Exhaling as we hinge. And then go ahead and inhale, rising all the way up, releasing those hands, lifting them up. Feels great on those shoulders. And then exhale. Let's open out to the side, finding that warrior two. Straightening through both legs here. Readjust to bring those hips directly under those shoulders. And then maybe we inhale and reach forward through the right fingertips as far as we can. Notice where the torso's at. Try to keep it right there as we just lower that right hand. And then the left arm, you can lift it up to the sky, or you can reach for the lower back, or maybe hand on the hip. It's okay if it's different than what you did on the opposite side. Pausing. Let's check in and notice how we're breathing. Actively lifting or reaching the crown of the head forward. Try to draw back through this top hip. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly lift all the way back up. Let's reverse those arms as that right hand lifts, left hand lowers down. And then go ahead and cartwheel both hands all the way back to the floor. We're going to step this front foot to the back. We'll find that downward dog one more time. All right, and then go ahead and lower down to both knees. We're going to swing those feet around to the front until we have a seat on our mats. Okay, and then as we find a seat, maybe try bringing that right leg out to the diagonal. You know, we do this one often. It's one of my favorites. It's a great one though, especially for that lower back, the back part of that psoas muscle to help release tightness, stress, all kinds of stuff that psoas holds. So we've got that right leg extended out to the side. Try flexing through those right toes, so lifting the foot up towards the ceiling, even bringing those toes back towards the body. That right hand can come along the inside of the leg, and maybe the left arm, we reach it up towards the sky. You can try turning that gaze up towards that left hand if it feels okay on the neck, or maybe you just turn that gaze straight ahead. Sometimes even just moving the gaze can change where you feel the stretch. And we can keep reaching up nice and high, or if you'd like to take it a little further, you can reach over towards those toes. Maybe that right hand stays where it's at, or you can bring it to the floor, or you can walk it over to that bent knee. So lots of options. So we hold for a few more breaths here. And just what do you feel? Where do you feel something here in this stretch? Where can you adjust? Where can you modify? And then when you're ready, maybe we sit all the way up. And then let's turn that torso so we're facing our extended leg, extended foot. Hands can come to the floor, either behind the body if it's not very comfortable to sit up tall here, maybe use the hands back here, or hands can be out in front. We'll inhale, lifting the crown of the head up. And then exhaling as we walk those hands a little closer towards that foot. Again, they might not go very far, and that is okay. This knee might bend a little bit, and that's okay too. Do what you need to do. Maybe you drop the chin towards the chest. Maybe we can relax through the gaze a little bit, softening through the jaw. Staying here for as long as you would like. But just for sake of time, I'm going to slowly come all the way up. So feel free to follow if you would like. All right, we're going to bring right hand to left knee. Left hand's going to come behind the body. Let's lift nice and tall. Once again, as we inhale, lifting from that lower belly up. Those hips might even lift. And then exhale as we find a twist. Dropping those shoulders down, turning the gaze towards the back of your space. It's okay if those hips lift. We want the pelvis to turn with the spine, so we're not pinching any nerves back there. And then as you're ready, you can slowly unwind. And we'll try the other leg. So go ahead and extend. Left leg out to the diagonal. Find where you can sit comfortably here first. Always an option to sit lifted on a pillow or a blanket or another yoga mat. And then go ahead and flex through those toes. Maybe we bring that left arm down along the inside of the leg, and we'll inhale, the right arm lifts. First, just try lifting straight up as we root down into the hip, into the leg. And then if you'd like to take it further, you can reach overhead, reaching towards those toes. Just allowing the head and the neck to relax here, turning that gaze wherever's comfortable. And then when you're ready, you can slowly lower both hands back down, just sitting up tall first, and then maybe start to turn your shoulders and your gaze over that extended leg. Hands can be either behind the body for support, and you can just hinge forward here, or hands can be out in front, and we can hinge here. Walking those fingertips down the floor. Noticing maybe how this side is the same or different to the other side. Maybe you feel a little sensation somewhere different. Maybe we take it a little further. Maybe you back out a little bit. And again, up to you when you slowly rise, but maybe on a breath in, we walk those hands back up, finding that tall spine, and then we'll bring left hand to right knee, other hand behind. Inhale, sitting even taller, lifting not only the crown of the head, but lifting this hip as well, and then exhaling as we twist. Dropping those shoulders down, relaxing through the gaze. And then as you feel ready, maybe you slowly untwist. We'll come back to center. And just finding a comfortable seat. Now, if you have a few extra minutes, please feel free to lay down on your back and maybe set a timer on your phone for about 5 minutes to give yourself a Shavasana. Just giving yourself a little more practice on feeling, on noticing, and using that breath to bring that focus back to. Otherwise, we'll take 2 more breaths together here. So go ahead and finish that next breath out. And then on that breath in, maybe we breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And then just a nice cleansing breath back in through the nose and out through the mouth. Thank you for joining. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And just remember to listen to the body and breathe. Namaste.